Welcome back to Follow Me to the Millions with Stephen Young. So today I'm talking to you about flipping real estate. You know, when I first started in real estate, when I was 26 years old, I had a broker at the time who owned the company that I used to work in for sales. And his big thing was always he just kept telling me to focus on sales, and I was a good salesperson, and you build your career that way. That's not the path of real estate wealth that I wanted to take. I wasn't big on sales in terms of enjoyment. I was really good at it, but I didn't really enjoy doing it. I really enjoyed was real estate investing, and at the time he was saying, you can't really make money flipping real estate, and I was determined to prove him wrong. And sure enough, I did. And years later, obviously I started quite small. And like the first deal I didn't make a lot of money on. I made some money, just not a lot. It was about $9,000 on my first flip. And then that obviously, of course, as I learned how to do it properly and where to look for deals and learned how to shorten the timeline and the construction cost, I got really better at improving the profit, improving the timeline, and getting properties and opportunities. So there's one incredible opportunity I found years ago. It was a 10,000 square foot commercial building, 4-story building, downtown Toronto. It came on the market for $1.3 million. And what I do, I look for opportunity that most people don't want to look at, right? So my deals don't typically look like a normal real estate transaction. And sure enough, this one was really far gone. I'm not afraid to take on a difficult project, but this one was really, in new territory even for me. Anyways, about 10,000 square foot commercial property, where the owner had excavated the basement beneath the basement. Basically, there was a basement, and then beneath the basement, the guy excavated the building himself, if you can imagine. So what he wanted to do is create essentially a sub basement just for more square footage to put another sort of like floor on this place that he could rent out for whatever reason. Who knows? Anyways, this place was really far gone, and like it was really held up by not much, and so there were structural issues. There was obviously plumbing issues, electrical issues, all sorts of issues with the place. That's kind of irrelevant to the story. But they put the property on the market for sale for $1.3 million. They had no interest. So I came along and I said, look, I'll give you an offer for $550 because this thing is not going to solve itself anytime soon, and it's effectively just land value at this point because it was pretty far gone. Now the property had tenants living there. It was not many, but there were troubled tenants, and they weren't paying rent. And this guy had issues with the city and the fire department, and obviously the structural issues. I was okay to take all this on for the right price. Now, when they did go to market, they got offers, and they're all around the sort of same asking price. They got basically full asking, $1.3 million. But the people who were giving them offers were mostly developers, and they wanted to develop the property, but they wanted timelines. So the feedback I was given anyways was that the conditions they were getting were like 1 year long, 18 months long. They were conditional upon city approval, which who knows, that could take months. And my offer was firm. There was no conditions. I said, I'll take the property as is, but I need my price. And they went away, and they weren't interested at the time. So fast forward a few weeks later, I think it might have been 4 months, it might have been a month, they called me back out of the blue, and they just said, look, we like your offer that it's a fast closing, there's no conditions, you'll take the property as is, whereas plus you'll take all the headaches on. And I said, yeah. And they said, we don't like your price. The $550 is way too low, but would you take $650? And I said, absolutely. I'll send you an offer this afternoon. So I sent an offer. They accepted it at $650, half the value, 50%, 50 cents on the dollar. And so I got the property. We got in there, and my team got in there, and they did not a lot of work. There was a lot of garbage, and they just basically removed all the garbage. Old furniture and they used to have an office there. Got rid of all that stuff. So it's basically vacant. We completely vacated the property. There's 2 other tenants who volunteered to leave, and there's one troubled tenant. And it was very difficult because he wasn't paying rent. He didn't want to leave, and he made my life not easy at the time. He made it very difficult, and he knew he was in the position to sit there and do nothing because there's nothing much I could do. So I hired someone, they were literally called the tenant terminator, I think they were called, something like that. And she would manage to speak to this gentleman for a very low fee. She made it worth his time to leave. And we didn't have to pay him any extra money. He just left. He just decided to leave. And so I had the property, it's completely vacant at this point now. And so we put it back to market, but we got rid of the fire issue, we got rid of the tenant issue, we got rid of the garbage issue, we got rid of everything except the structural issue. So the structural issue I knew was going to be a big deal, and we couldn't really solve the problem. I had some engineers in there and a couple architects, and they basically said it's essentially a tear down property. So I had to search for a developer or someone who was looking to either add land to the portfolio or someone who were going to use it to do land assembly, and that's exactly who I found. So in a very short period of time, I managed to find someone who was literally buying up the block south of this property, and they now to this day they've built a very big, beautiful building, a high-rise building, a 40-story building there. But they needed my piece of land to add stories to the top, and that's exactly what they did. So I sold the property to them for $1.3 million. They took on the city and the structural issues. They basically tore down the building, and it's just vacant land. You can go there even to this day. It's just vacant land. But they took the air rights from the property and they increased the building. So to them, the money wasn't a big deal, but to me, it was the biggest windfall, biggest score I ever had year to date, or career to date, I guess I should say. It was $556,000 of profit. It took me approximately 4 months, start to finish, and I had no money down. My finance guy gave me 100% financing because the property was so undervalued. I bought it for such a good price. He financed the whole thing for me. So I was quite happy that day. It was a great opportunity. It was something that not a lot of people saw through. I saw through the headaches, and I knew there was something on the back end. That was my biggest score year to date.